Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the Albay Provincial Health Office is urging the public to take extra precautions against heat-related illnesses as the province continues to experience persistently high heat index levels. Provincial Health Officer Dr. Estela B. Sanet advised residents to stay alert for symptoms of heat-related illnesses, which may include intense thirst, headache, dizziness, nausea, heavy sweating, muscle cramps, weakness, and a rapid heart rate. Dr. Zanet warned that heat-related conditions such as dehydration, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke can pose a serious risk if not addressed promptly. To reduce the risk of heat-related illnesses, she stressed the importance of avoiding prolonged sun exposure, especially between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Staying hydrated, wearing light and loose-fitting clothing, and using protective items like umbrellas, hats, or handheld fans when on outdoors activities. Albay PIO further advised the public to keep their bodies cool by using fans and ice packs and staying in shaded or air-conditioned spaces. If someone exhibits sign of heat-related illness, they should be moved immediately to a cooler shaded area away from direct sunlight. In cases of emergency, the public is encouraged to call 911 or the Department of Health hotline at 1555. In other story, the Albay Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is actively promoting safer and more disaster-resilient communities through the implementation of the Philippine Building Code. This initiative seeks to effectively regulate the design, planning, construction, occupancy, and maintenance of all buildings and structures, both public and private, to ensure the safety and well-being of all individuals. Eugene Vincent N. Escobar, head of the Research and Statistics Division at the Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office, emphasized that compliance with the Philippine Building Code is a key preventive measure against incidents such as building collapses during high-intensity earthquakes. He also highlighted the importance of assessing soil conditions in proposed construction sites to determine their suitability and safety. The Philippine Building Code, officially known as Presidential Decree Number 1096, or the National Building Code of the Philippines, sets the minimum standards and requirements for all buildings and structures. It integrates disaster risk reduction and management measures to help safeguard public welfare and reduce the impacts of natural disasters. In the national scene, the insiders and legal observers from the International Criminal Court stand firm that the Philippine government may have quietly facilitated the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Christina Conti, ICC-accredited lawyer representing victims of the drug war, pointed out in an interview striking inconsistencies in the Philippine government's behavior. Conte believes divisions within the UNIT team, the 2022 campaign alliance of President Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte, may have played a pivotal role. The breakdown appears to have created enough political distance to allow international legal obligations to take effect. The official said that denying cooperation while certainly facilitating justice is a symbol of the Marcos administration's broader strategy of maintaining nationalism while avoiding international condemnation. In other story, The Commission on Elections has started its month-long internet voting for Filipinos overseas despite the challenge before the Supreme Court. The official overseas voting period began on Sunday and will run for 30 days until 7 p.m. on May 12, the end of the voting period in the Philippines. The first to cast their ballots were registered voters in the New Zealand, under the jurisdiction of the Wellington Philippine Embassy at 4 a.m. in Manila. The last to begin their overseas voting will be the Filipinos in Honolulu Consulate in the United States at 2 a.m. on April 14, Manila time. The 2025 elections will be the first time internet voting will be used in the Philippines in 77 posts in different countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and European countries, according to COMELEC Chair George Garcia. Online voting portal for Filipinos in these posts will be open for 24 hours and votes can be cast using smartphones, computers, and tablets with internet connections. In other news, the Department of Health has activated a code-wide alert for the observance of Holy Week in the country, making all public hospitals ready for emergencies. In a statement, the Department of Health said that code-wide alert will remain in effect until the 20th of April, Easter Sunday. In connection, the Health Department said that it will closely monitor health events and coordinate with regional and local health offices to ensure a synchronized and efficient response to any emergencies. A code-white alert is declared during national events, holidays, or celebrations that can potentially cause mass casualty incidents or emergencies. During a code-white alert, identified medical personnel and staff are placed on standby for the immediate acceptance and treatment of incoming patients at the hospitals. And in the news outside the country, former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will face first criminal trial for insurrection after the short-lived imposition of martial law last December, which plunged the democratic country into political turmoil. Yoon sued to impose military rule on the country when it ordered the suspension of political activity and a censorship of media on the 3rd of December. The disastrous attempt led to Yoon's impeachment by the National Assembly shortly thereafter, with the Constitutional Court fully stripping its presidential duties on April 4. Although losing all presidential privileges, Yoon still faces a criminal trial on insurrection charges. During a preliminary hearing in February, Yoon's lawyers argued that detention had been procedurally flawed, an argument accepted by the court, leading to his release 52 days after arrest. If convicted, Yoon could face life imprisonment or even the death penalty. With Yoon's removal, South Korea is set to hold a snap election on the 3rd of June to elect its successor. Until then, the country is governed by acting President Han Duck-soo. And finally, in the news outside the country, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump to visit Ukraine to understand the devastation wrought by Russia's invasion. Zelensky reiterated that if Trump had the time to drop by, it would understand the invasion of Russia led by Vladimir Putin. The invitation comes as Trump pushes for a quick end to the more than 3-year war, with the United States holding direct talks with Russia despite its unrelenting attacks on Ukraine. Washington has also held talks with Ukrainian officials on a potential agreement. Zelensky's invitation follows the heated row at the White House in the late February between the Ukrainian President Trump and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, which played out in front of the press. And that's all for the news at 12, April 15, 2025. We'll be back next week for more news updates. And thanks to our news writer, Albay PIO and Erica Dumlao. And on the technical side, Chad Bodis. Of course, our Provincial Information Officer, Mary Luduca Castillo. And under the supervision of our Governor, Baby Glendong Bungao. I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.